CNBC has an incredible story about how brazen Joe Biden is being in his fundraising. If you want to be a member of the National Finance Committee for Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign, be prepared to raise up to $100,000. The former vice president's campaign is calling on its network of bundlers to help put together thousands of dollars in contributions. There are 4 tiers of fundraising in the Biden system, according to an invitation CNBC obtained through a donor who recently sent in a contribution. The Advocate Group requires members to raise $25,000 by June 30th. The Protector Group requires its members to bring in $50,000 in 2019. A Unifier must rake in $100,000 this year. A Power Raiser must acquire 10 unique contributions of $100 or more each month. Each of these donations must be from a different new-to-you donor, according to the invitation. The invitation pitches donors and fundraisers a chance to be one of Biden's most dedicated supporters and to help fuel a professional and inclusive campaign. So at a time when other candidates are either swearing off big donors completely or at least going through the motions to make it appear like, oh, I don't like the big donors at all, Joe Biden is like, I don't give a fuck. Okay, so come on. Oh, more for me. More big donors from me, baby. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. All day long, bitch. And that just tells you the kind of guy he is and the kind of politician he is and who he wants to represent. We covered the video. There was a video of him from one of his previous presidential campaigns, and he's like, well, listen, if somebody raises me a tremendous amount of money and then they call me and they say, hey, man, I want to talk to you, I say, well, of course. Come on in. Doesn't mean they own me, but it does mean you're going to do favors for them because they gave you money and that was your point. Like, yeah, I'll help you out. That's the problem. That's the problem, Joe. You're supposed to represent the people, not special interests, not private donors, not people with an agenda. I mean, you're supposed to represent the American people. Present your ideas. The American people will donate to you. Then you try to get those ideas implemented. You're the Hillary Clinton philosophy. I got public positions, I got private positions. You want to give me money? Okay, then we'll meet behind closed doors, and what do you want? You want a tax break? You want to be able to, stash your money in an offshore tax haven? Well, if you gave me enough money, I'll look out for you. Delaware is a state that caters to big business on another level. So many corporations are stationed in Delaware because they have, no transparency laws, and they got a super low tax rate and all that stuff. So Joe Biden's totally cool with that. This is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a good old boy style politician. And this happening at a time when, Bernie Sanders, no big money. By the way, they're smearing Tulsi because there was an article the other day in Fox Business that said she's raising money from Wall Street. It turns out, no, she's not raising money from Wall Street at all. She's doing a fundraiser at a surgeon's house, and the surgeon's house is in New York City. And they made the argument, oh, no, New York City fundraisers are Wall Street fundraisers. Who's the original source? Charlie Gasparino, who's a fucking fraud, and this is a guy who's on Fox Business every now and then as a contributor. I don't trust that guy at all, not even close. The guy's a fucking idiot and a loser, and I've covered his stuff before on the show to make fun of it because it's so bad. I don't trust those guys. So just be careful with, all the reporting to see who actually is raising money from big donors, who isn't doing that, and where people are getting their money, how they're getting their money. But yeah, needless to say, in this corrupt system that we have, best case scenario is most of your money comes from small donors. And then in the case of Bernie, for example, Bernie does take some PAC money, but it's only union PACs. Now, you could argue that also might be a little bit of a problem because every now and then the unions are wrong on an issue like, Keystone XL pipeline or whatever. They wanted that pipeline, and so they were probably lobbying for that. But they are overall a much less scary special interest. So if you raise money from lawyers, you raise money from teachers, you raise money from unions, yeah, that's a special interest. And you could say, on principle, I'm against raising money from PACs, but just you have to make a distinction, though, between that and corporate PACs who have a much more odious agenda. And so in the case of Bernie and in the case of many other good politicians, They mostly raise from small donors and then sprinkle in a little bit of like union PAC money and some other kinds of money. So you have to go through these things with a fine-tooth comb. In the case of Joe Biden, it's not even close. Joe Biden is selling out to the mega rich. That's crystal clear. And he's not even really trying to mask it, not even really trying to hide it. I need Bernie to be on the stage with him for the debates. And my guess is that's not going to happen. And I don't think that's going to happen because I think the DNC is going to do a little Weasley nonsense to try to make it so it doesn't happen. They're going to change the rules a little bit or, rig the process a little bit so they go, oh, look at that. Bernie and Biden didn't make it on the same stage. Why? Because then, it's easier for Biden to get away with his bullshit. I think there's a decent chance Bernie and Biden aren't on the same stage, and also Bernie and Elizabeth Warren are on the same stage with each other and not with Biden. So who will go after Biden? You got to hope like Tulsi's on the stage with Biden and go after him. That's what I think we might have to rely on, because I think they're going to try to protect his ass in a similar way to how they protected Hillary. But all this is right out there for everybody to see. And as somebody said on Twitter, I love how they're running a campaign as if people can't see what they're doing. We see what you're doing and we fucking hate it, Joe. You're terrible.